More and more people are talking about Pirate Software, and they're talking about how absolutely retarded this guy is. I think SomeOrdinaryGamers, I think Mutahar, has the best take on it, in my opinion. I'm going to have this full video linked down there in the description, but we're going to play the ending of it. But the ending really kind of has nothing to do with the rest of the video, other than it's explaining how he feels about Pirate Software, and the rest of it is doing a deep dive into his game. And it's pretty much how I feel about Pirate Software.
Now look, at the end of all this, ladies and gentlemen, I think there's been a huge dogpile on, Thor. I think there has been, right?
I think it's been deserved. I think a lot of it is lies and people are trying to grift, but not all of it. I think most of it isn't. I think there are definitely some grifters out there. But the people that his fans and himself are calling grifters, I don't think really are grifters.
It's simple as that. And I don't want to just be somebody that contributes to it for the sake of contributing to it. I really do feel like, at the end of all this all could have been avoided, okay? All Pirate Software
Bro, it was all his own undoing.
Had to do was either use the fucking mana gem, okay? Or if he fucked up in World of Warcraft, instead of being the biggest douche in the fucking room.
Yeah, even if it wasn't your fault and it was on everybody else, like, bro, you were still the biggest douche about it. Like, come on, man. Get real. It's a video game. We're on the internet. What are you doing? It's not that serious.
And effectively being the person with the largest ego on all of planet Earth. I mean, we are talking crazy levels of ego, crazy levels of pompousness.
Yeah, and then he just screams, "Lego my ego!" And it's like, bro, you Lego your ego.
If he had just simply learned to shut the fuck up and apologize, even if you don't mean it, just learn to take a little bit of an L. Learn to laugh at yourself. None of this would have been an issue. The guy would have still...
Yeah, imagine a guy who is a retard who doesn't think he's a retard. I think I'm a retard. I think Mutahar thinks he's a retard.
Been a beloved content creator, still would have been somebody that was pretty squeaky clean of any controversy. Instead, ego became the reason why he effectively is a lightning rod.
Bro needs an LSD trip, honestly.
Of controversy all over the internet. Everyone and their mother is taking a fucking shit down his throat. And
yeah, and now even Mutahar.
Again, it's hard to root for Pirate Software. It's hard to even be aligned with him because he makes it so easy to absolutely despise himself. He has the ego of somebody that apparently through his own code and through his own actions has not proven to be worthy of that ego, okay? This is not John Carmack we're talking about when it comes to developing video games. And while he, granted, has never admitted to that and he's never claimed to be the greatest programmer in the world, it's just somebody that has coasted on this 20 years of bliss.
He thinks he's the greatest indie dev in the world, though. And he thinks that he's an educator.
Experience, red team specialization, and when you look at how he codes a video game, it makes you really question everything you've ever...
Dude, what's his name? Yandere Dev? It's funny when that guy is a better coder than the guy who's trying to be the programming educator.
Forgotten from him. Now again, to go further into Pirate Software, I think the best way for him to honestly come out of this is, again, learning when to shut the fuck up, learning to take an L. But one thing that I have learned in doing this whole video and researching everything here is that I really do think that he does genuinely care about this game, Heartbound. And I really think the best way to turn around this bad luck and this bad fucking controversy that he's got.
The problem with Heartbound is not the state that it's in. The problem with Heartbound is it was supposed to be finished already years ago. It's still in early access, not finished, and he's just not doing it because he's making more money off of streaming. And sure, but your game was supposed to be finished, bro. People paid to have things put in the game that have yet to be put in the game. There are people who have paid thousands of dollars on the Kickstarter, and they still haven't gotten the rewards that they paid for, that they were promised.
Through is just finish the game. I really do think that, if he puts his mind to it, with technical debt all the way provided here, he...
I'm pretty sure the final boss in Heartbound, he made his mother because his mother called him lazy one time, and it's just so ironic.
Could still finish this game. It is definitely an uphill battle. I do think that looking over at his code and looking how he's done this game, I don't think that it's going to be an easy thing down the road. But he's got a game, he's got a scope, he knows what this game is supposed to be and what it's not. And for a solo developer, I still think that he can cross the finish line and make this RPG a true thing. You know, even if at the surface level, it
RPG, I mean, I guess it's more of like a choose your own adventure book type scenario.
feels like a game that is kind of cashing off of the success of something like Undertale. I think for anybody that has put years upon of his life into an entire project like this, he definitely wants to see it finished. And I think the best thing you can do is to just finish this project, to have
Yeah, he wants, I think he does. I think he wants to see it finished, but he's got his mind wrapped up on a whole bunch of other things. I think that he has too many baskets. I think he's got his fingers in a whole bunch of pies, and he really just needs to put his whole hand in one of the pies and just give up on everything else because it's not working and he's falling apart.
to have it completely behind you, to release something in a 1.0 state, and again, to give the backers who gave you money, in some cases $1,000 even, one person, just give them the game that they paid for. Finish your project and then move on to something else. Because ultimately, you know, this is somebody that keeps feeding into the drama. He keeps calling everybody else a grifter. He keeps trying to be the person that is always 100% right. Unfortunately, you're not 100% right, bro. You're somebody that is constantly feeding into this nonsense drama. You're somebody...
I think he's about 69% right, but he can't admit that.
That is constantly not focusing on this game, it seems. You're somebody that is putting way too much effort into playing random video games, watching videos, constantly responding to things.
12-hour World of Warcraft streams
That really don't even really need a response. There is a time and place where you...
Yeah, especially when somebody brings something up in his chat and he's like, I'm not even going to talk about it. Proceeds to talk about it for the next 10 minutes.
Kind of lower your head down, even if you're facing intense adversity, and just finish these projects, because that really is the best way to win against it. Now, again, when I talk about this dog pile, I really feel like, obviously, for me, a lot of sympathy comes from looking at somebody. I have never experienced even 1% of the level of hate that PirateSoftware has been getting.
And he wouldn't be getting this level of hate. He got quite a bit of hate there at the beginning with the Stop Killing Games. I just think that it's getting worse and worse and worse. That's what sparked this whole thing. He just won't shut up. It's all he's got to do is just shut the fuck up.
And there's very few people that I think...
At this point, even if he doesn't apologize, if he just shuts the fuck up about all this stuff, nobody's going to care in like a year or two. Some people will be making videos about him, but it'll probably have a smaller audience, but nobody's going to care. We're all going to move on. Like, the only reason we even care about this is because it keeps making the news.
End up actually receiving this level of online scrutiny and hatred. And the mental toll that I guess it can take on somebody is pretty massive. Even if your ego is in the fucking stratosphere like PirateSoftware's is, I still think all of this online hatred can get to you. And it's one of the reasons why I don't, in this entire video, want to contribute to it. I did want to look at this video. I wanted to give this game an honest review. And I think that while it's not my cup of tea, I can see that there is value in it. I can see that he wants to produce something. And I wish him nothing but the best in that process. When it comes to looking at his code, when it comes to looking at his credentials and all...
I don't care about his code. The only thing that I actually care about that is him acting like he's the big shit. And it's just kind of mid.
All of these things combined together, I tend to see somebody who boasts about being a professional, but I really do feel that everything that I've seen is something of a novice. And again, this wouldn't be that big of a deal. Again, there's nothing wrong with
it wouldn't be that big a deal if he wasn't trying to come off as a big shit.
Having shit code, right? There's nothing wrong with being bad at it. I'm not a fucking great coder either. But I'm also not claiming to be this crazy fucking guru, hacker, expert in the world. There's a lot of mistakes that I make. There's a lot of mistakes that people like Coding Jesus...
Yeah, he needs to, instead of saying that he's the world's smartest man when it comes to coding and video games and streaming. He needs to be like, I am the world's middest retard. And we'd all be like, yeah, PirateSoftware. But that's not what's happening.
There's a lot of mistakes that even the best people in this industry, like John Carmack, can make. But again, when you have an ego, you gotta be able to match it with the skill. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like that's
not even that. No, not even that. Even if you got the skill to match it, if you've got a giant ego and you're calling people grifters, like, bro, get the fuck out of here with that. Nobody cares. Eat shit.
All the way there. Unless that skill is making a whole lot of spaghetti code. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it. I am out.
Yeah, you should probably be watching Some Ordinary Gamers, Mutahar. He's fucking awesome. I love this guy, even with all the controversies that he's been involved in. At least he comes out and apologizes, and he's like, guys, I'm a huge fucking idiot. I need coffee. Apparently, PirateSoftware has been in some even worse drama. Maybe the worst drama so far. Even worse than the Stop Killing Games thing. So let's check it out. Even Legal Mindset is talking about this. This is crazy. I don't even know what's going on. That's why I react to these videos, because I don't know what's going on, man. I'm a massive retard. And I can admit it.
PirateSoftware has opened the door to fraud allegations after a leaked DM shows some controversial behavior regarding his mod, bit donations, hype trains, and we're going to get into that today on The Legal Mindset.
You mean the software, or not the software, you mean the social engineer has been socially engineering, manipulating, and all of that? That's crazy.
Of course, I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney in this Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge in a fast facts format, bringing you the quick and dirty version of the latest news. So PirateSoftware has been in the internet news over the past, 3, 4, 5, 6 months.
Really? Haven't noticed.
For various things that he has been doing. But now we have him actually getting caught in something where there could be real legal liability. Now, to be
all right, like, yeah, the drama, all the drama's been fun, but if he's actually doing some shit that's illegal, that's fucking crazy, man.
Very clear, we are not addressing the drama today, so we're not going to talk about how he got his party killed in WoW and how he failed to even give a basic apology and say, hey, look, listen, this was really...
Yeah, it's never good when an attorney is talking about you and he's like, we're not going to talk about the drama. We're going to talk about some real shit.
My fault. I could have done more here, not try to deflect it, not try to blame everybody equally, but just take responsibility and own up. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about any of the fig tree allegations and whatever he did with a ferret. That's between him and the ferret. We're also not talking about Stop Killing Games, although we did talk about that on a previous episode, and you can tune back and catch my Stop Killing Games commentary. However, one thing we are going to talk about is this fall in subs, because a lot of this does have to do with the fact that PirateSoftware, due to all of these controversies, is hemorrhaging subs. And when you are hemorrhaging subs, and I'll bring this up again at the end, this opens you up to a lot of potential problems. From
also, like this right here, with this arrow down, with these arrows down, and then this arrow up, that doesn't help. Like, you're playing too many games. Why?
From people that used to be supporters. So obviously in the over 104,000 people as of date over the last just 30 days, losing over 104K followers. Amongst those certainly are some whales, some people that donated a lot to his channel and now feel really, really hurt, or feel betrayed by PirateSoftware. And whenever you have that happen, not only are you going to have more people paying attention to your channel, more people looking for you to make mistakes, more people logging what you're doing.
I like how we're actually talking about some facts here instead of drama and like the reasons why this is happening, because we all know why this is happening. But it's always good to be like, well, doesn't matter what's happening or why it's happening. This is actually what's going down. Here's the facts. That's why I like watching Legal Mindset.
But you're also increasing potential liability, because one of those people, any of those people that donated a lot, that felt they gave a lot, might have claim or cause if you end up slipping up and they felt misled, and that might generate some sort of cause of action. And that's something we might have here today. So let's get into it. What happened? So Pirate Software, while live, accidentally showed a DM with his moderator. That
How do you do that? How do you do that? Why are you using your streaming PC to also do your moderation stuff? What, do you not have two PCs? Okay. I mean, I understand somebody like me doing that because I can't afford two PCs. This guy definitely can. Why are you doing everything on one setup? On the setup that you're streaming on? That's retarded.
That DM shows that his mod was purchasing bits to extend Pirate's hype train. Now, that's a Twitch thing, and we're over here on YouTube. We only have hype trains and you guys smashing the like button and commenting on the video, which is always appreciated. But that's a particular mechanism at Twitch, and Pirate Software has actually been known for breaking that record repeatedly. In fact, only recently, I believe the VTuber Vidal, Neurosama over there, beat his record, but previously he'd been setting records as related to this hype train. So it's something that, you know, as a channel, if you're setting records, you're typically pretty proud of that. Now, it appears his
Bro, problem with having a mustache like this, and I'm trying to get it bigger. When I drink coffee, it's just full of coffee, man. I need to find a better way to drink coffee without using a straw.
DM with his moderator, it appears his DM was purchasing bits to extend Pirate's hype train. Now, by and in and of itself, and we're going to see that with the terms of service, etc., that probably wouldn't be a problem if the moderator was doing that on their moderator account.
Also, don't make fun of my watch. It's loose. I need to fix the band. This was my grandpa's watch. I found it and I decided that I'm going to start wearing it. I need to put a battery in it too because it's currently not working.
Count, right? And the moderator was just as a moderator going and donating those bits. However, it was beyond just the moderator doing it. The moderator was donating them not with their main account, but with an alt account, which the mod made Pirate aware of, and which presented itself not as the mod, but as a friend of the mod, as a separate person who was not the mod, which is...
That seems like the mod's being a real piece of shit right there, but if Pirate Software knew about it and was letting it go on, and probably promoting it going on, can't be doing that, bro.
Not true. We're going to see that right today. So I'm going to pull up the actual footage for this. Of course, if you want to catch the full analysis, right, the full breakdown, you can always catch the full version on my live. So here is Pirate Software, and this is the moment in which he was caught in 4K showing the DM. So here's him during gameplay.
He's in a banana suit. Oh, man. Whoa. Boy. Oh, boy.
My head between them and go full burr mode and make...
What? Okay, so here's where he pulls it up, and this is the screenshot. We're going to go into it. I'm going to read it through, but here's the screenshot, and you can see how quickly he's going to click away from this. He's just going to try to clear this out because obviously this does not look good for him.
So this is him pulling it up on stream here, and I'll just go ahead and...
Why? Why do you have Discord on your streaming setup if you don't want people to see the messages? It just seems like an obvious L. Like, come on, man. I almost said L take. Just L. It's just an L.
Let the rest of it play, as you guys will see that this is indeed Pirate Software. You can see his messages between Kronos, the ones that we were just showing you, and then you're going to watch.
So you can see he's got it up here. He's going to click away, right? He clicks away pretty quickly, right, to get over here. And by the way, another thing, big credit to Quintheo. I'm going to tag his video in the video below for bringing this up and for making this presentation and kind of collecting this together. But in that screenshot, we have some pretty damning proof that he was talking with the moderator in order to engage in this behavior. So let's look at this here. I'm going to read through this for you guys so you get it. So Pirate Software says, let me know if you do. Bits is going to be the best way to do it due to the return if you need to save it. So what he's talking about is, what is the most efficient way for you to buy these bits and then extend the hype train? And the return would imply that he's going to get money back, that he's going to get reimbursed. So that implies that as this moderator is donating, Pirate Software is going to pay him back for what he gets. So it's going to be
Bro, what? That's absolutely insane. And that's it's basically botting with extra steps. That's what that is. Instead of going straight for bots, you're getting real people to be the bots. That's fucking crazy.
returned to him. So he's going to get, as Pirate Software says, like an 82% return. See, T3s might be better, don't know. Bits is 82% return when you buy them in bulk. Have you bought any? He says, I've done 100 T1s on my personal, ready to do 40 T3s on my alt.
This is fucking insane, dude. This might be the worst thing that he's done yet. This might be worse than Stop Killing Games. Who knows if it'll be a bigger issue in the, like, wider scope of the internet. Because honestly, people care more about video games than they do about some shitty streamer.
Can do bits instead or both. Did 50K bits at 20 seconds left. So saying he extended the hype train with 50K bits when there were 20 seconds left. Okay, what is the alt? Serendipitous Bean. Remember that name, Serendipitous Bean. It's going to come up. Where's the beef? And then he goes on to say, didn't mention this to the mods either. Now the challenge is to clear the queue. The queue is referring to his kind of backup TTS queue, which he has to clear or it's donated to charity. But the more important thing is this Serendipitous Bean. And here's this profile here. And
Dude, this is all happening right after that Mutahar video? That's crazy. Yeah, he probably didn't know about this going down.
this information courtesy of Guy on Twitter. So thank you, Guy. This was the description here of Serendipitous Bean.
By the way, if you're lying about one thing, if you're manipulating one thing, who's to say you're not manipulating everything?
IRL friend of Kronos. So Kronos is the main moderator and excited that they are free from corporate. Love your stream and what you do for the people here. There aren't many cooler supportive streamers left once they get big like this. Stay cool, bud, and tell Kronos that Ben sends their regards.
This guy is role-playing as another person, and Pirate Software knows it. This is actually complete shit right here. What the fuck, man?
So this person is clearly painting themselves as not Kronos, not the moderator, but
It'd be one thing if it was somebody like me doing this. It'd still be shitty. But this is like Pirate Software, the greatest programming streamer of all time. The big shit. Top dog.
separate IRL friend of this moderator, which is extremely deceptive, if you ask me.
Straight up fucking lie, you mean? He just couldn't say it like that because he's clean, even though he said it was dirty. No, it was a straight up fucking lie.
Now,
And Pirate Software
how does this
knows it.
convert to a legal issue? Well, there's three potential legal questions, and these were brought up also by Quintheo in his very good video, which once again, I'm going to link in the comment below. He
We're watching that. 100% we're watching that.
brought up the first two. I'm introducing a third one here. So the first one is Twitch terms of service. Then we have federal law violations and state law violations. So let's look at the Twitch terms of service. So obviously Twitch has a terms of service. There's many things you can and cannot do, but one thing they have is called a bit acceptable use policy. So you're supposed to use bits in a certain way. You're supposed to behave like a normal contributor and not do certain impermissible things. Like, for example, you can't solicit bits in exchange for money or donations. That's one thing. You can't provide items or services that are sort of associated with monetary value in exchange for bits. And a big thing here, and this is one that I think he has to really watch out for, is selling, offering to sell, trading, bartering, or transferring bits to other users in exchange for real or virtual currencies. So,
Yeah, that sounds pretty much exactly what the fuck he's doing here. That's crazy.
if this mod is using these bits and transferring them to Pirate Software, and Pirate Software is converting that to cash and paying him back, that would appear to violate the TOS. Beyond that,
Is he going to get banned? You think he's going to get banned? Doubt it.
you cannot use the bits to engage in any fraudulent, criminal, or otherwise unauthorized activity.
No, we're just going to keep banning people like Tectone for calling whores whores.
Soliciting or receiving bits for any fraudulent or any other criminal
I'm
activity.
calling fat people fat. Like, come on, man. What the fuck?
That could be a problem because of the nature of
Could
what
be.
they did, because they engaged
Probably won't be, but could be.
in a kind of fraud there where you were having a sock puppet account, a fake account, an alt account, right? That is donating these bits, pretending to be a friend instead of a mod. Now, understand that a mod can very well be perceived as an agent or an employee of the streamer. So if a mod goes out and does something on the streamer's behalf, they are an agent. And the streamer is what's called the principal. That's principal agent theory. And a principal can be liable for the actions of their agent. If you tell somebody to go out and do something, and certainly if you're compensating them or reimbursing them for that, they are your agent. So it's as if the streamer was doing this. So it's as if PirateSoftware was engaging in this. And in this case, it's doubly damning because he shows he knows this. He was told this, and he didn't say, don't do that. He didn't say, well, that might be against TOS. He says, well, that's kind of shady. No, he's like, okay, great. He's like, okay, fine. In fact, he's strategizing on the best way to do this, which
because he is a social engineer, but really he's a social manipulator. This is some fucking bullshit, man.
is, once again, not a very good look when we're coming to allegations of fraud. So let's continue here. We have federal. Oh, no, sorry.
Dude, it's just like at every turn, this guy just shows himself as a massive piece of shit. Did you know he worked at Blizzard for 7 years? Makes sense. This seems like something an ex-Blizzard employee would do.
Let me go back here. With the terms of service, some people allege, and this is more of a kind of niche allegation here, but some people do allege, and this is something that I believe one of the lawyers brought up for this, was that, well, this is something that there might be a separate contract for. So the lawyer that was talking to Quintheo said, hey, there might be a separate contract that might supersede that. Well, in a separate part of the Twitch terms of service, which I looked up, it actually says even in other agreements, even if there is a separate agreement, even if there's a supplement, you still have to follow these terms and you cannot violate them. And I'm very sure that
But how much does Twitch like PirateSoftware? Because that's really gonna affect what's gonna happen to him. Because if Twitch likes him, if they think he's the golden boy of the programming scene, they're not gonna do anything about it. And I think that nothing's gonna be done about this. They don't give a shit. But if Tectone or Asmongold was caught doing this, they'd probably get perma'd.
separate agreement would have incorporated that statement because it's intended to be applied to all separate agreements. So even if there was a separate private streamer agreement, even if PirateSoftware got a lawyer and negotiated a private agreement with Twitch, even if that happened, I doubt he's able to break those terms. And beyond that, he's not allowed to break the law. And what we get into next, and the thing that's very spicy, is potential violations of federal law and state law. So let's talk about federal law. Federal law is the Federal Deceptive Trade Practices Act, and that's something that is very, very well known by me. I covered that a lot. That was one of my kind of, I would say, specialties in the corporate realm when I was corporate counsel. There are three separate elements. So you need a representation, omission, or practice that is likely to mislead a customer. So the practice would be, hey, donating bits from the sock puppet account. The consumer's interpretation is reasonable under the circumstances. So the consumer is thinking this is a private party. This is somebody else. This is not the mod. This is not PirateSoftware. They're thinking, oh, look, this person is extending the hype train. And so,
yeah, and one person will see that and they'll be like, oh, he's donating, I'm going to donate too. He's being nice, I'm going to be nice too.
Because of that misleading representation, that materially led others to donate more to keep it going.
Yeah, that's how it works.
It's a very well-known
that people do that.
Thing in scams and cons. This is something that confidence men do.
Yeah, this is 100% straight up. You're scamming your audience, bro. You're manipulating your audience and you're lying. And this is some fucking bullshit. Some bullshit. Like, oh man, I was fine with all the other stuff because it was funny. Because dude's a massive retard. But I'm baffled. I'm kerfuffled. I'm flabbergasted. This is crazy.
get fake buyers to go out there and gin up interest so that people will buy stuff even though it's overpriced.
See, people are buying it. It's not a scam. People love it.
That is a very common fraudulent practice. So by not disclosing the fact that essentially your agent, your employee,
look at how much people are paying me. Look at all the sales that we're getting. Great product. See? I got 5-star reviews.
is going out here and doing that, that is misleading a reasonable viewer, a reasonable consumer. That's a possible interpretation of that.
Yeah, PirateSoftware is straight up the Raid Shadow Legends of the streaming community.
Once again, it's not for sure that he would be convicted of this, but this is opening up the door to these questions. Beyond that, there's state law. So Twitch is in California. Every state has their own Deceptive Practices Act. Florida has one, Georgia has one, New York. A lot of them follow what's called the UDTPA, which is the Uniform Deceptive Trade Practices Act. But some of them also have things that go further, and some of them have...
Yeah, the government hasn't quite caught up to like streamers and internet content yet. But I think as old people leave and we get new old people, as in people who aren't yet old, who are online, who can consume mostly all of their content online, then we'll start seeing things. But right now, all the old people, they're still like legacy people. Like they're still TV people and radio people. And that stuff's dying.
Criminal penalties, including California, which can hit you if you go cross certain lines. So Consumer Legal Remedies Act, California has that. And I mentioned California, by the way, because that's where Twitch is. So it would be very reasonable if a California donor...
That's why they don't ever ban the leftists, and they always ban the right-wing people.
If a California whale brought a claim against a California corporation in a California court against, Twitch and against, Mr. PirateSoftware. So there's three things that really come up, and these are separate under the law. The Consumer Legal Remedies Act. Now, that's typically used to products, but there could be an argument that it would apply to services, particularly services that were fraudulent or misleading. But beyond that, there's California Business Code 17500, which leads to false or misleading statements or false or misleading advertisement. And this could be perceived as, hey, falsely advertising that you're number one on the hype train, that you're this hype train leader, that you're this person that needs to be donated to keep this thing going to breach all these levels, when really most of those levels, or maybe a lot of those levels, some of those levels were just artificially inflated by either PirateSoftware's mod or the sock puppet accounts. I mean, who knows? We don't really have a full track on that.
Yeah, we don't know how deep this goes. But now we know that there is a hole. The hole is there. We just don't know how deep the hole is. But it doesn't matter because there is a hole.
Yet. And beyond that, there's the unfair competition law. And this one,
it's like we were driving, we were like, hey, it's PirateSoftware. He's being an idiot. Wow, look, everybody. And then, what was that?
I think is pretty juicy, because this one would even allow other creators the potential to say, hey, this is unfair competition. You're allowing these people to inflate their numbers and get this hype train going on, get featured on the front page.
Yeah, this is like straight up botting behavior. Now it's not, out of the question. This guy might have been botting, like actually botting, not just paying people to pretend to be fans and have multiple accounts. No, he might have been botting. This is making me think that all of the shitty practices that you could think of that a streamer does, you do one thing, why wouldn't you be doing the other things?
Get highlighted, get hyped up, by all of the platform and by the, CEO himself, all this sort of good stuff. And that is unfair competition. That's giving them an unfair edge because they're doing things that are violating the TOS freely. And hey, if you don't enforce this, Twitch, if you don't do anything, Twitch, this is a problem.
Yep. Well, it's just another drop in the hat, another drop in the bucket, whatever you want to call it. Like, Twitch is gonna have to start banning these people because more and more of these problematic people keep showing up and they keep causing more and more problems, and then Twitch does nothing. And we can all see that it's just garbage. We can all see it's always the same types of people. It's always their golden boys who are on the left. who pretend to not be, by the way. People like to pretend that Pirate Software isn't an insane leftist freak. You ever been in his fucking Discord community?
Now, beyond that, there are other issues other than him losing subs. And of course, once again, him losing subs just adds the potential of people that might sue. But beyond that, there's advertisers. Advertisers might feel like they were defrauded. They might feel angry because they're saying, hey, we're running ads and they're supposed to be on the top channels. But if he's falsely inflating his numbers and he's being falsely promoted, well, maybe we're not really getting the value we thought we were getting. We thought we were getting a value of someone who was number one in the hype trains, who was leading in this pack of hype trains. And we're not getting that value. And even if they don't have a claim, they might express their anger. They might pull out. They might refuse to advertise. Beyond that, this could open the flawed floodgates. If Twitch does not crack down on this, does not issue some punishment, some correction, well, others might say, well, I can do that too. And then everybody is going and committing this deception.
I think a lot of people are already doing stuff like this and worse. So, you know, it's about par for the course for Twitch.
Which would just open up Twitch as a really, really poor perceived platform where everyone is essentially artificially boosting their own numbers, which...
What? No, that's not happening. No way. No, Hassan Piker is naturally getting 50,000 views per day, per stream. No, it's happened naturally.
Once again goes towards Twitch's impotent image. Twitch is something that Twitch's a platform that I've talked about a lot because they've failed to enforce their own rules evenly, fairly, and justly. And if you have terms of service and you never enforce them, well, that's not a good look for your platform as a whole. And that's why other platforms are rising. Even platforms like Kick are passing Twitch in many metrics because of...
I think Kick is going to become the new Twitch. The new old Twitch, not the new current version of Twitch.
Their poor image. And other platforms like YouTube look at that and say, hey, we're going to stay away from those sort of images and that sort of image and enforce our rules. So this is a really bad look for Twitch. It does not look good for Pirate Software and is likely to continue his downward slide. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll catch you on the next.
Dude, my God, he just cannot stop taking L's. He just comes out as a shittier and shittier person every single day. And the more people look into him, the worse it gets. Craziness. Craziness. Nuxanor was right. This guy's an absolute fucking retard. And by extension, that makes me right. And I like being right. All right, man, let's go deep. Let's go real deep. Let's see what Quintheo has to say about this whole situation. It's like we just saw what was going on with Pirate Software. Now let's zoom in a little bit.
Then Kronos says, did 50k bits at 20 seconds left? Pirate says, okay. What is the alt account? Kronos replies, serendipitous bean, where's the beef? And then below that, he says, didn't mention this to the mods either. Now the challenge is to clear the queue. We were actually able to receive an archived VOD of this stream. As a matter of fact, if I go ahead and jump over here to 726, we're gonna see exactly what I'm talking about.
I wished I could place my head between them and go full burr mode.
Bro, him wearing a banana suit through this whole thing, like, absolute cinema. Chef's kiss.
What?
So this is him pulling it up on stream here, and I'll just go ahead and let the rest of it play, as you guys will see that this is indeed Pirate Software. The information that I'm going to be presenting to you guys in this video is going to, at a bare minimum, showcase yet another example of Pirate Software being incredibly scummy, or it could also include
an actual garbage piece of shit. And he might be going down for this one. Probably not. He might get sued, but Twitch isn't going to ban him for breaking TOS. No way. He's one of the golden boys.
Pirate Software breaching the terms of service of Twitch, or at its worst, could actually spell legal consequences for Pirate Software. Now, at the time of recording this, I've spoken to a lawyer, and I'm actually going to be including a few clips from our conversation that we had, as I think they're useful for this video. But I'm also going to be creating an update video where I go much more in depth with this lawyer after we fully go through the details of all the information that we've gathered. Through other people, we've also been able to get in touch with someone who works at Twitch to go over this possible alleged terms of service being broken at Twitch. I should also make it very clear that the legal ramifications are not going to be gone in full depth here, and they are just alleged right now. I'm not saying that he has broken any laws yet, but there is potential. But with this oversized preamble out of the way, let's get into the video. Now, this all starts late one night just a few days ago when somebody in my Discord, shout out to CK.
Yeah, as we just saw with Legal Mindsets video, this definitely smells like shit. Usually when it smells like shit, there's shit. And it seems like there is shit.
Ends up sending in a screenshot of this tweet. This tweet comes from Guy, and they say PirateSoftware accidentally revealed his DMs with Kronos during the April 1st Twitch Giga Train, showing that they were boosting it themselves. This is why the stream is—
Bro, this was April 1st this happened? Why are we just now finding out about this? Oh, because people are doing deep dives. This is what happens whenever you stream this much, man. People have to, like, sift through hours upon hours, days, months worth of content. But there are people that that have some super autism who are willing to do it.
Unavailable to watch. And here we have this screenshot. I want to make it clear at this point, this is the only thing that we have in regard to this situation. So let's take—
Ooh, there's more.
a look at that screenshot. Now, in this screenshot, it is Pirate wearing a banana costume, or excuse me, a long lemon. And he's on Discord here, and it looks like he must have accidentally pulled up this Discord interaction that he was having with Kronos. That's his lead moderator. Reading off the messages here, the first one from Kronos is, Pirate responds, let me know if you do. Bits is going to be the best way to do it due to the return if you need to save it. Kronos says, bits rather than tier 3s? Pirate responds, tier 3s might be better, don't know. Bits is 82% return when you buy them in bulk. Have you bought any yet? Kronos says, I've done 100 tier 1s on my personal, ready to do 40 tier 3s on an alt, can do bits instead or both. Then Kronos says, did 50k bits at 20 seconds left. Pirate says, okay, what is the alt account? Kronos replies, serendipitous bean, where's the beef? And then below that, he says, didn't mention this to the mods either. Now the challenge is to clear the queue. So that's a lot to throw at you at once, and we're going to pick it apart as we go over this video. But what is going on here? Now, to preempt this, some people might know that—
Yeah, I don't know much about this. I'm glad that I clicked on Quintheo's video, because he probably knows a little bit more about it than I do, because I don't know shit about Twitch. I don't know nothing about bits. I don't know how much they cost.
Twitch uses this thing called a hype train. Essentially, the more you get donations or gifts in a short amount of time, it raises the level of this hype train. And when you pass certain benchmarks, people unlock things. For instance, last year on April 1st, back in 2024, Twitch's hype train record smashed again by PirateSoftware.
Oh. He smashed the hype train. And it also comes out that he manipulated the hype train. Wonder what happened there.
And they go into detail about Pirate breaking the Twitch hype train world record, with his channel reaching level 106 on April 1st. Once the hype train was initiated, it took Hall roughly 3 hours to beat his previous level 55 world record from December, with viewers contributing 54,380 gifted subs alongside regular subscriptions and 8.2 million bits, likely earning Hall a healthy 6-figure sum in the process. And he goes into a bit more detail. Hype trains, a feature that Twitch launched in 2020, are a limited time event triggered when a channel receives an uptick in bits or subscriptions, pushing past a streamer designated threshold. And you can see here that the people that were a part of this hype level 100 train were given the Kappa Infinite emote, dropping in chat for hype train participants. I wanted to show this because it'll be important later, but Vedal is a name of a VTuber who ended up beating that record and getting to a 111 level hype train. And this is what PirateSoftware had to say when they found out their record was broken.
So Vedal broke the hype train record. Vedal's record is now level 111, and that's wild. I think that's freaking incredible, to be honest with you. With help from Valorant, I mean, yeah. So during that hype train, they got an extra 19,000 subs from Valorant, which is wild, like absolutely wild. So I think they ended up with something like 80,000 subs. Our hype train was 54,000 subs, but you guys had given 8 million bits, and that was kind of the difference between the two. No, there's no cheating. No, don't try.
Who are you saying there's no cheating to, huh? Who you say? Why would you even bring that up? Oh, there's no cheating. Why would you even say that? Especially knowing the fact that you did cheat.
try to diminish what they did at all. I think Vidal is an amazing content creator. I think Neurosom is cool as shit.
So that
I don't know
specific
who that
part about
is.
cheating, what do you think that Pirate means by that cheating? He said, no, let's not take that away. I don't think there was cheating. Don't diminish that. I would assume that cheating in terms of building up a hype train would maybe be to artificially inflate it yourself, by chance coordinating with a mod of yours, maybe your head mod, to keep a hype train alive. I would say that myself.
Yeah, especially if you're paying money yourself to boost that hype train. If you're willing, like, I think he was willing to pay $50,000 to make $100,000. It's easy to see somebody to do that, especially if it's there and you're like, man, this is so easy to manipulate. Bro, I could double my money. Holy shit. Why wouldn't you do it? You know? A good person wouldn't do it, but a shitty person would. And PirateSoftware is a shitty person.
Could be wrong, interested to hear what you guys think, but let's continue on. And to make it clear, we're not contesting his 106 level hype train that happened back in April of 2024. I have no reason to believe that there were any shenanigans involved with his 106 world record breaking one, as I don't.
No reason to believe, but who knows, man? Who knows? With this Kronos thing, it's starting to smell like it was manipulated.
Have any evidence of that. And regardless of your understanding of his pattern of behavior, anything like that, I'm not making that allegation myself. I'm not saying anything about that specific achievement. We're talking about this year, April 1st, 2025. Now, I think one of the most important parts about this is validating that this is a real screenshot.
If you did it once, you've probably done it before, and you're gonna do it again if you don't get caught out on it and called out. And this sounds pretty fucking illegal to me.
And how are we going to do that? Because as it stands right now, PirateSoftware had removed the YouTube VOD, and as well as the Twitch VOD ends up deleting itself after 60 days. And I think we hit that threshold. Now, this leak could be the reason that this ended up getting taken down, this VOD, but there's another potential reason as to why, and it actually comes from that head moderator that you saw in the screenshot, Kronos. Now, I had replied to Guy, and I'm actually going to show you two different ones. Guy actually posted this screenshot in a couple of other places. I said, hey, where were you able to find this? Would like to get some more info on this. And then they replied, it's my own screenshot from the stream, ex-subscriber. And so I said, could you send me a screenshot of where that file is in your folder, just so we can see a timestamp of that picture? I know that's weird, but the more info we have, the more we can validate this. And I give my Discord. Well, Kronos replied back, and you guys might recognize this phraseology here.
You could have asked me about this one had you reached out. Bro, why would we ask the person who we think manipulated the whole thing? Why would we ask you? Why would you tell us the truth if you manipulated it? Like, come on.
Could have asked me about this one had you reached out.
That sounds like PirateSoftware himself. Maybe that is PirateSoftware himself. Maybe he's talking to himself in the Discord. Maybe this dude's actually fucking insane.
I couldn't reach out to Kronos unless I added him and then he accepted my friend request on Discord, since we don't share a mutual server, which means I can't just message him even if we aren't friends. But he goes on to say, I've spoken about this before, but I guess the truth isn't as compelling. Kronos VII on Discord. VOD was removed to prevent a 2025 repeat of people watching the 2024 video and messaging donators, myself included. Now, I should note that I also said, if you could send me your January comments relating to this, I'd love to have them. Also, sent you a friend request on Discord.
Yeah, and nothing's gonna come of that. I guarantee you.
That was 12 hours ago. He still has not added me back. Still waiting on that response. But
100% he saw this.
I think to remain charitable here, the VOD was removed to prevent a 2025 repeat of people watching the 2024 video and messaging donators. Let's just go with that. Now, Kronos made another reply, and I want to highlight this. He said this before. In January, during the WoW drama, people contacted me and others about donating during the Hype Train record in 2024. This year, I did less from my main and did some on an alt. Now, I'll be honest, I'm a bit confused about this message. People contacted me and others about donating during the Hype Train record in 2024. I think he's saying that in the same fashion that they were people harassing donators in the last one back in 2024, he didn't want to have the same issue, so he donated and wanted to make donations from that alternate account. Now, based on how I'm reading this, and again, I could be wrong, maybe I'm misunderstanding what Kronos said, but he said that he did do 100 tier 1s on his personal. Now, if you have an issue with people harassing you and you end up using an alt, I would figure that you would probably send most of the donations through that alt account, but sending
Yeah, that would make sense if you know, were using just the alt account. but you used both accounts. Like, that's bullshit, man.
100 separate tier 1 subs, or maybe they were grouped in 5s, 25, maybe did it all at once. That's still putting your name up there. That's still going to get people to message you. So, I mean, having the VOD deleted afterwards is going to solve all of it regardless, so you shouldn't have to worry about if you donated it using your personal account. The VODs have been wiped. I just wanted to make sure I went through both of his messages. I'm not trying to cherry pick here, but let's move on to how we were able to confirm that this existed in the first place. Number 1, Kronos is not refuting it, but more importantly, number 2, we were actually able to receive an archived VOD of this stream. Now I'm about to show you guys an archived VOD of this exact stream where we're able to prove that those leaked DMs showed up in the stream.
This
now,
is
at
so
the time
bad.
that I first showed this, and the first time that I had found it in my Discord, is that's where it was sent in. I didn't know who had archived this, but I want to give credit to the individual who had this archived VOD, and that is Scorpion from MK on Kiwi Farms. And I want to apologize.
Don't apologize for Kiwi Farms. Do not.
That I did not know this going into my stream. Again, you deserve full credit for this, and I genuinely really appreciate that you had this VOD. Otherwise, we wouldn't have this proof.
Man, I hate it when people are like, unfortunately, I had to get this from Kiwi Farms. Like, why does everybody say that? It's a free speech platform that people, like, find some crazy shit out on. That's the point of it.
To back up this screenshot that we had found, so thank you. Here it is in all of its glory. It is 11 hours and 59 minutes and 57 seconds. To the best of my knowledge, this stream was 12 hours long. So they usually do that 11-hour 55 cut, so we have the entire thing, and it's not super relevant to be missing those last couple of minutes because we have everything we need here. As a matter of fact, if I go ahead and jump over here to 7:26, we're gonna see exactly what I'm talking about.
I wished I could place my head between them and go full burr mode and make...
What?
So this is him pulling it up on stream here, and I'll just go ahead and let the rest of it play, as you guys will see that this is indeed...
I wonder what PirateSoftware's got to say about this, because this is crazy.
Where you can see his messages between Kronos, the ones that we were just showing you, and then you're going to watch him go ahead and delete the text-to-speech that he just heard.
What? What is this? Where is it? I'm gonna find this. I need to find your message. God damn it, click. Click, you garbage machine. What? Who are you? Why are you like this? Number 420. Deleted. Jesus Christ.
Now, number 1, as far as I'm concerned, I think that's aptly proving that, yes, this is indeed PirateSoftware. He's going through, he deleted the text-to-speech, you heard him talking about it, and he had the authority to delete that message. Now, the other thing I found interesting about this little chain of events here is that he quickly switches to a different DM after he realizes that this is on screen, and that happens before he goes to his Discord, and he looks a bit panicked, but that, again, I'm speculating here, right?
What? What is this? Where
he jumps...
His body language, his facial language is completely different, and it screams that, like, oh, fuck, I fucked up. Hope nobody notices this. It's like, he looks nervous. He sounds nervous, he looks nervous.
Over to this one first to, clear so you guys can't see what he's saying to Kronos, and that's when he starts looking for his server.
is it? I'm gonna find this. I need to find your message.
I'm gonna find this. I'm gonna find this. He's trying to act like there's a funny thing going on. And it's obvious panic.
God damn it, click.
So now that we've confirmed that this really does exist, it existed on that VOD, let's take a look at that screenshot again. So this specific bit up here, let me know if you do. Bits is going to be the best way to do it due to the return if you need to save it. Bits rather than tier 3s. Tier 3s might be better, don't know. Bits is 82% return when you buy them in bulk. Have you bought any yet? Now my leading theory here...
Yeah, asking your mod if you've bought any bits yet sounds like you're trying to talk your mod into buying bits and you're gonna pay them. What the fuck?
Specifically with that 82% number that Thor is throwing out, has to do with the conversion rate when you get bits into a Twitch stream. Now, as you can see here, when your viewers perform and confirm an action that requires bits within the extension on your channel page, you'll earn 80% of 1 US cent per bit used, and the remaining 20% is shared with the extension developer. So here's that 80%, but let's do a little bit of that math. So taking a look here, I just took a screenshot. I went into a Twitch stream, went to the bits, and you can actually get a 12% discount at 25,000 bits. So that puts you at a $308 price tag. Now, to make this a bit easier to understand, one of my buddies here actually created this here, so special thanks to them, but we're showing that 82%. So bit is 82% when you buy them in bulk. What he means is if you spend $308 to buy 25,000 bits, donate them, the streamer gets $250. And then of course, Twitch takes its fee, that 20% being $58, which means that $250 is the money going out, like to the streamer, and $308 is the money that you put into the system to give that $250 to the streamer. So that's how you end up getting a return on your money of 81.1.6. Now there is that 0.84%, discrepancy between this 81% and 82% the Pirates referencing, but I think that that is a safe enough margin of error when we're talking about this. But all of that math is to show that this 82% return when you buy them in bulk is referencing that they are receiving 82% of the funds that are used in these donations, meaning that 82% is going to PirateSoftware, which would then in turn, and I think the only reason PirateSoftware is talking about this return is because that money would be going back to Kronos. So not only would he be able to donate to this hype train and help it out, which he literally admits to, as we see in these messages here. Right down here, he says, did 50K bits at 20 seconds left. But they're also trying to save as much overhead as possible and get it back to Kronos without bleeding as much money. Now, I'm sure there's a potential for another reason for them to have been talking in this way. That is my best guess based on the information that I was able to pull about the bits, percentage of what goes to the creator.
Yeah, if none of this is happening that we're thinking, it definitely not a good look, and it seems like manipulation, straight up. It seems like he was paying his mod to donate so they can boost the hype train.
What ends up going to Twitch. Interested to hear what you guys think if anyone understands these systems a bit better. Now, another wrench in this point is the fact that Kronos lives in the UK, so we don't know for sure if he's using that or, the currency where he lives. And that could play a factor since the price of bits is different based on where you're from. Now, we're about to get into where this could potentially break terms of service with Twitch and some of that potential legal aspect to this. But first, I want to go over that alt account that Kronos is referencing. Now, this is that serendipitous bean account. It does exist on Twitch. Moreover, if we go over and look at the overview for this profile, and that's over here on Twitch Tracker, we can see that the account was created April 1st of 2025, which would...
Wow, man. Dude, we're doing some fucking deep research on this guy. So he made the alt account just so that he could donate. Oh, man. Definitely not a good look.
Line up with the timeline of having this alt account created on the same day that this stream was recorded. And then going back here, we can see Kronos referencing what his alt account name is.
I guarantee you that this account is about to be scrubbed. Serendipitous Bean, probably not going to exist. Probably going to be a deleted account pretty soon, so people can't look into it further.
And saying, where's the beef? Now, this is important. As a matter of fact, still in Pirates Discord, there are these answered TTS from 3 months ago, which lines up with that time frame. And here we can see, probably the one that I'm specifically referring to here is my favorite ferret is beef, because where's the beef? So I think it's pretty safe to say we can tell that this is Kronos, since he literally said verbatim, where's the beef in the Discord messages between him and Pirate. So we know for a fact that Pirate has seen, can confirm, and knows that Serendipitous Bean is Kronos's alt account. Not only that, but we have something super cringe. So that was the first Twitch text-to-speech, and we could actually kind of attribute that maybe Pirate didn't know that that was the alt at the time that that text-to-speech went out. But we do know for a fact that the second text-to-speech that was sent out by Serendipitous Bean, Pirate knew full well that it was Kronos. That's going to make the second clip I'm about to play you that much more painful to watch. So here's that where's the beef text-to-speech here.
Serendipitous Bean with 25,000 bits said my favorite ferret is beef because WHERES the beef.
So that was the first one sent from Kronos, and this is the second one.
Serendipitous Bean with 50,000 bits said IRL friend of Kronos and excited that they are now free from corporate.
I know.
Love your stream and what you do for people here. There aren't many cool or supportive streamers left once they get big like this. Stay cool, bud, and tell Kronos that Ben sends their regards.
Dude is pretending to be another person. And PirateSoftware knows that this is the alt account. What the fuck?
I'm sorry you had to know Kronos in real life,
with
just like me.
500 bits said, when is Yar pregnant man going to be real?
He had to do a little glazing for his boss, but oh my god, that was painful, knowing now that that is actually Kronos. But now...
And PirateSoftware knew. That's a fucking manipulative lie. What the fuck, man? That's so crazy.
Lastly, over here at the bottom...
He 100% knew.
Didn't mention this to the mods either, so this wasn't, you know, planned amongst all the other mods, but then right below that says, now the challenge is to clear the queue. Now, what's this clearing the queue? Well, there's actually an answer, and this is in the form of one of PirateSoftware's shorts.
What's the TTS queue and wait time? So every time somebody donates to do a TTS, I actually have a system, and you can see it goes into this queue. Every time I hit this button, like this, it eats
Amph cheer 500 loving war within so far as a warlock.
But yeah, your message then goes into Discord. It actually has a timestamp here to show where that's going on, so you can click on it, and it works, right? And then if I don't get to your message by the end of the stream, it goes into debt. And right now, we've given $56,805 to charity since November of last year, because if I don't answer your message, I don't deserve the money, so we pay it to charity.
So I think that's all that you specifically need to know. Now we understand that every...
So, that's what he means by clearing the queue. Make sure that you get this one answered so you actually get that money and it doesn't just go to charity. Actual fucking shit, man. Wow.
TTS that doesn't get cleared through the queue, meaning Pirate ends up playing it for the stream, that ends up all getting donated to charity. And it seems like Kronos is well aware of that fact. And so now the challenge being to clear the queue means that they want to make sure that they get through everything so that none of it gets donated to charity. Now that could be nefarious, but also at the same time, I think the goal is that he does want to read through them all because he wants to, you know, appreciate the people that have been sending the money to him. Matter of fact,
the only thing that makes it dirty is the fact that Kronos and Serendipitous Bean are the same person. PirateSoftware knew this. Dude pretended that he was Ben or whatever. Ben sends his regards to Kronos, whatever. Bro, what the fuck, man? What the fuck?
In fact, I'm pretty sure their goal is to get through every single one of those text-to-speeches, and inevitably, you know, they will end up donating some to charity because they might not be able to get through all of them in a single stream. And it ends up being that if they don't read it, ends up going to charity. So I don't really see an issue per se with that. Some people could take it that way. I don't think I necessarily need to make that argument.
Yeah, that's not the issue. The issue is the Kronos and Serendipitous Bean being the same person and PirateSoftware pretending that he doesn't know this.
Because I think there's a reasonable understanding that, of course, the goal is to clear the queue every time, and it's not just because it's all going into their pockets, although that's the main reason, but they do also just want to respect the viewers that have sent their money in. But now let's talk about that Twitch terms of service and if this is breaching that terms of service. Now this hinges...
It is 100%, but Twitch ain't gonna do nothing about it.
...on the hypothesis that Kronos is...
I'd be pleasantly surprised if Twitch does something about this.
...getting paid back by Pirate through these bit donations that he did. And he did 75,000 bits in total, so $750. Now, of course, there was a little bit less due to that 12% discount, but that's the ballpark here. And again, reached out to see if someone from Twitch can actually better clarify if any terms of service were broken. So at this moment, this is all just speculation, and I don't have any other confirmation. Now, what I'm showing you guys here is from Twitch's legal Bits Acceptable Use Policy. Now, I'm just going to read the title of this area that I'm going to be reading from. Bits cannot be directly exchanged for items or services of value. Now, that specifically directly exchanged is a bit, you know, convoluted here since it's going directly to the stream, but then supposedly, potentially, Kronos will be getting paid back. The front line reads, don't engage in an exchange of bits for items or services that typically are associated with a cost or value. Communities can gather to achieve a goal that unlocks a benefit or experience for the community, explained further below. Creators can announce benefits in response to individual cheers. However, in each of those scenarios, the activity does not provide a return of anything of value. And down here explicitly, it says, now the don'ts that constitute violations of this policy. Don't solicit bits in exchange for money or donations, and don't request money or donations for bits. Now, this doesn't work because Pirate is not saying, hey, we're, you know, giving you guys money if you give me bits. And it's also not Kronos requesting money for those donations. But if we come
At least out loud.
down here, we can see this specific point here: selling, offering to sell, trading, bartering, or transferring bits to other users of Twitch in exchange for real or virtual currencies. Now this, we could make the argument that the selling, or I should say offering to sell or transferring bits to other users of Twitch in exchange for real currency would be the equivalent of Kronos donating those bits to Pirate's stream, knowing that he's getting this, as we talked about, that 82% return. Or I should say that that 82% return is going to Pirate. That assumption being that this return of 82% is for Pirate so that he can get it back to him and lower their overhead costs. Now again, there is nothing directly stating outright you cannot, as like a moderator or an employee for a streamer, donate bits to, get that money back afterward.
Yeah, this is like some corporate shill manipulative garbage, man.
But there's no specific ruling on that, or not.
We're losing money, quick! We're losing money. Let's manipulate the system and not tell anybody about it.
At least that I've seen from the research that I've put together, or that any research with people that I have worked with making this video have found themselves. Now, other examples of this Twitch terms of service potentially being broken here has to come from spam, scams, and other malicious conduct. And listed below in, for example, you may not, it includes this part here about engage in viewership tampering, such as artificially inflating follow or live viewer stats. Now, my expert armchair analysis, I would look at that and go, okay, well, they were.
Yeah, if you boost the hype train, people see that and they're like, I want to be involved in the hype train. Exactly what happened here. That's 100% what happened here.
Seemingly, based off of, Kronos directly saying, I added those 50k bits with 20 seconds left, it sounds like he is artificially, with coordination from PirateSoftware, keeping the hype train going, which may look like natural engagement, which may incentivize other people to donate to the hype train.
100%. And he knows that, because how would he not know that if he's a social engineer? Social manipulator, more like.
They want to build it up because there is a potential that they unlock this emote, or they unlock other rewards in the progression of leveling up this hype train. I think this might also contribute to the cheat the Twitch reward system, in which case I think maybe you could make that argument, but at the same time, the alternate account that he would have been donating these bits on wouldn't really be cheating that Twitch reward system, since he would be receiving the rewards from it. Again, that's more like incentivizing other people that would naturally donate. They would be more likely to donate if you were getting closer to one of those goals. And they got closer to that goal by artificially inflating the train. Pyrocynical is going to have a heyday with this video if he ever.
Bro, I cannot wait to watch Pyrocynical's video. I love Pyro Live. I just reacted to a Pyrocynical video the other day.
Ever reacts to it. Now, the last big TOS thing that I have here is under prohibited conduct here. Specifically here under II, it says impersonate any person or entity, or falsely
pretending to be somebody else when really it's your alt account and you're the same person. And PirateSoftware knew it.
Claim an affiliation with any person or entity. Now, technically, Kronos impersonated someone that was friends with Kronos. I think that's a really lame technicality, but at the end of the day, he did pretend.
It is a very lame technicality, except PirateSoftware knew about it. That's what makes it not so lame anymore, and it makes it incredibly shitty and manipulative.
And to have a friend, which is kind of funny. But more specifically, in the second part of this II here, it says, misrepresent the source, identity, or content of information transmitted via the Twitch services. I would say by using an alternate account and not disclosing that to the public that was viewing the stream would count as misrepresenting the source and identity of the person donating. But all of these potential breaks in the terms of service could mean absolutely nothing. Now, I spoke with the lawyer that had actually worked with Private Parts back when he received a cease and desist from PirateSoftware in regard to his video game, including PirateSoftware's voice in it. Now, I spoke with him a little bit about this specific point, and he had some really interesting information to provide in regard to...
Dude, if somebody put me in their game and was gonna make fun of me, use my voice, use my likeness, I kind of don't give a shit. That's kind of awesome, actually. Even if it's like they're being shitty to me and they're making fun of me. That I would rather that than somebody glazing me, actually.
The fact that PirateSoftware might have a different contract with Twitch that would supersede the terms of service that would typically apply as a blanket for most people that are streaming on Twitch.
I think that's what's going on with Sean Piker also. They actually can't ban him because they have a contract where probably it says that they can't ban him as long as he doesn't actually promote any real violence outright, which sure, he just skirts around it and says things in a way that people know what he's talking. It's like a nudge, nudge, nod, nod, you know, wink, wink.
There's another layer here too, right? Okay.
Mhm.
So there's the terms of service that most of us are going to have available to us. But someone like him, he may have a different terms of service that we don't get to see. He may have a separate individual contract. He have a separate written agreement that says literally on it, Twitch terms of service are superseded by our written agreement thusly. You may only think you may think, and Twitch may allow you to think, because that seems more
That's fair.
fair. It seems like more fair for gamers if the rules are all the same for everybody. But no, they don't.
We already, like the drama slop tubers, we already know that this is how it works. Because there are certain people that get banned and there are certain people that don't get banned.
Have to tell you that. Nobody has to tell you that. So he has. And I would be kind of surprised, actually, if he didn't have a separate agreement that said those terms of service do not apply except to this extent or superseded except to this. I mean, if I were him, I would want to have a separate agreement. And his agreement it's possible. Who knows? We don't know what his contract is. We could talk theoretically about what Twitch's terms of service, how it would apply if it applies to him. But we honestly don't know. And that kind of thing is not that uncommon in the real business world. Like in when it comes to real business and you're dealing with real large amounts of money, people have individual there's contracts of adhesion, we call them, are the ones that ordinary users can't change.
Right.
Ordinary users have no opportunity to change. But when you get into like where real money is changing hands, people don't do contracts of adhesion. They're custom. You know, that's why you have lawyers. You negotiate these things.
For example, Mr. Beast and YouTube. If Mr. Beast does something shitty in one of his videos that YouTube doesn't like, Mr. Beast isn't going to get banned. He'll just be told to remove the content. But any other user, if they put in something that's not allowed on YouTube, they get banned. That's like a great example of it.
They are negotiated. He may have had it so that like this doesn't even apply at all. And it's not like he's expressly allowed to, but it's just like, you know, the prohibitions that would normally prohibit this do not apply. And, you know, maybe Twitch doesn't even give a fuck.
Sure.
Like what's their downside? They're still getting
They don't give a fuck unless it's somebody that they don't like.
paid, right?
Right.
So their only downside would be if it looks real bad.
But now let's specifically tackle legality, like US law.
Yeah, Twitch will do something about it if it actually affects their platform and it actually affects their bottom line. But if it doesn't, then they don't care. Even if it does just a little bit, it has to like majorly affect them or nothing's gonna happen.
Is what he did illegal? Based off the information that I have now, it's very, very shaky at best. And I
think it would be like a civil suit. I think people who were manipulated by PirateSoftware and the situation would be able to do something. I don't think it's like outright illegal, or at least like enough to get them put in jail or prison or anything. Definitely can get them sued.
say that because it's the information that I have right now. Now, in a future video here, probably within the next few days, I'm going to be having a full-on conversation and go really in depth about the details of this with the lawyer I was just showing you guys clips from. And I think through that, I'm going to have a much better answer for you. But as
I wonder what PirateSoftware is going to say about this. I really can't wait for that response.
of right now, when we're focusing on the legal aspect of this, looking at US law, the first thing I want to point out is I don't think that this is like money laundering. I think it's kind of scummy that he's using Kronos and him.
It's money laundering light. It's not exactly that, but it kind of is.
Using his alternate account to make these donations to artificially grow the train. But specifically with that last part, not about money laundering, but based off of the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, this could be considered a deceptive business practice or deceptive act. So I'm pulling this information directly from the Federal Trade.
And if Twitch is allowing this to happen, or, you know, it's in the contract for him to be allowed to have this happen, then it's on Twitch too. Like, somebody better be talking about this, because I smell a lawsuit, especially with all these attorneys and lawyers coming out like, hey man, this is starting to smell like a lawsuit. Somebody's gonna be like, oh, they're smelling a lawsuit? I have a lawsuit. I have a case.
Commission Act Section 5, unfair or deceptive acts or practices. Now I'm just showing you where this is in the document. I'm going to pull up a screenshot because it's easier to zoom in. We're focusing on this part here, deceptive acts and practices, assessing whether an act or practice is deceptive. Now you may see that there's a little line here indicating that's where my mouse was. No, I did not edit this, and I'll leave a link in the description to this so that you can verify that yourself. I'm going to read this part off here. There must be a representation, omission, or practice that misleads or is likely to mislead the consumer. An act or practice may be found to be deceptive if there is a representation, omission, or practice that misleads or is likely to mislead the consumer. It goes on to say deception is not limited to situations in which a consumer has already been misled. Instead, an act or practice may be found to be deceptive if it is likely to mislead consumers. And then right down here below,
Yeah, especially during a hype train, that when people see that there's a hype train going, they're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna continue with this hype train. I want to be a part of something.
omission of information may be deceptive if disclosure of the omitted information is necessary.
I was part of the reason PirateSoftware broke his record. He broke the Twitch record for hype train. That was me. I helped with that.
To prevent a consumer from being misled. Now, you could make the argument that the fact that they are not being transparent about the fact that Kronos is the person who is donating these, as he's using this alternate account, serendipitous being.
Even if nothing legally happens with this, honestly, I don't care. What it's doing is creating more divide, and more people are gonna leave. Dude, at every turn, this absolute complete fucking retard is destroying himself. Like, bro, he is the biggest piece of shit streamer besides Hassan and all of his orbiters.
People don't recognize that this is artificial inflation. The fact that they were referencing that they were a friend with Kronos in real life. Now they're trying to create what looks to be organic growth, it seems like, by not telling people the truth of this. And I would say that if people knew this fact, then it could lead them to make a different decision when it came to donating to PirateSoftware for this hype train. Again, that hinges on how people
sounds like a scam to me.
Would react knowing that information, and we don't know that. Moreover, I'm not a fucking lawyer. See, I can admit that. And so I don't really know how much you could really get away with this, or if any other letter of the law is going to push against this specific.
Yeah, and we just saw that what an attorney had to say about it, and he was like, this seems like what we're saying it is.
Argument when it comes to Twitch and receiving donations on a streaming service. And I'm kind of making this specific point in conjunction just below what we just read. It continues on to say this: the act or practice must be considered from the perspective of the reasonable consumer. In determining whether an act or practice is misleading, the consumer's interpretation of or reaction to the representation, omission, or practice must be reasonable under the circumstances. The test is whether the consumer's expectations or interpretation are reasonable in light of the claims made. And this part specifically is something that I found interesting, but I'm just kind of speculating here. So it says, when representations or marketing practices are targeted to a specific audience, such as the elderly or the financially unsophisticated, the standard is based upon the effects of the act or practice on a reasonable member of that group. So we would ask that question, a member of that group being a Twitch viewer who is potentially willing to donate to a streamer. How would the information of knowing that Kronos was using this alternate account to help inflate the train and keep it moving along, how would that impact a reasonable viewer of that stream? If I saw that a train was getting closer to a certain goal and I saw that it kept moving up, I would be more inclined to donate, seeing that what I think to.
And also, this is just one instance of it that he got caught out on. How many times has he done this before? How many times in that one stream did he do this? Was it just Kronos? Were there more people that were doing it?
Be natural growth. If I knew that it was artificial, I would be less inclined to donate to it because that feels scummy. But I mainly think that it feels.
If Twitch was an actual real platform, they'd come out and say whether or not he was doing this more than just this one time.
Scummy because it's deceptive. If they had come out the gate saying, hey, we're doing this thing, we are donating, we are going to keep the train alive with this certain amount of money because we want to, I still think that's lame. I think that's really stupid. I think a couple other people might agree with me on that, but I would have a much less averse reaction to it knowing it right out the gate. And I think that kind of comes into play with what we were just reading. But I really do want to get down to the nitty-gritty of it. So I will be speaking more to Mario, the lawyer, and figuring out and going more in depth as to what this could actually mean and get his, lawyer perspective on if there is any, potential breach of US law. Now, the last thing that I want to bring up for this video has to do with the potential defense that I see coming out, because I saw this YouTube short talking about how Pirate at the start of each month will donate a bunch of subs to his community.
Monthly ruse will happen every first of the month from now on. You see, Twitch is paying me a lot of money to run ads. I've accepted this deal, but I hate ads. So how do we fix this? I take half of this money and I turn it into tier 1 subs for you, which is over 200 subs, and then I gift those to the community. So all the people that get those 200 plus subs don't have any ads for the entire month. But since I gifted half of this, 39% of a tier 1 sub comes back to me. And Twitch still pays me a bunch of money on top of that, so I actually make about $1,700, which is more money than I make in a month normally. And also none of you get to watch ads.
Now, my first rebuttal to
What the fuck? That seems like a really crazy workaround to make money. And it sounds like you're manipulating people into making even more money. Which, it's cool that people don't got to watch ads, but also you're making money off of it. That's fucking insane.
this is the fact that it is 200 tier 1 subs coming from PirateSoftware. He's saying that he would be gifting that to his community. So number one, we know that Kronos is the one that is dropping these subs. Okay, well maybe it is Kronos that's dispersing these. Okay, well if we go back to this DM communication between the two of them, we're going to see that he says that he donated 100 tier 1s on his personal, but they were talking about focusing on either doing bit donations or tier 3s since those might be better. Bits being 82% return. So we know that the goal of this isn't what's being referenced in the short. It's not to do a bunch of those tier 1 subs at the beginning of the month to help people not watch ads. This clearly is intentionally in reference to keeping the hype train alive, as you see down here with the did 50k bits at 20 seconds left. I just wanted to include that because there was some chat in my Discord about that specifically, and at first when I watched it, thought it was a good point, but then after looking back at the DMs, I'm very hesitant to believe that it had anything to do with the messages that we just went through. But
Yeah, I'm not inclined to believe anything that this piece of shit actually says. It seems like literally everything about this guy is fake and a manipulation, and it's all for money and all to be the big brain top shit. Sitting up there on the throne, best programmer ever, check out my video game. Absolute garbage piece of shit this man is. If he's even a man. He is a gay furry after all. That's all I got for this one. For now, we'll probably be back tomorrow talking about some other crazy shit that people are going to talk about around PirateSoftware. Like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the bell for all the notifications. We do good work here, I think, in my opinion. Absolute retarded work. But I like it, so I think it's good. We're doing it to do good. It may not be good. It might be garbage content that I'm making, but at least I can fucking admit it. And I'm not trying to manipulate people and be evil about it. I'm just reactioning.